right. Good evening, good evening. Welcome, champions. Sunday night team call. Efrosyni Adamid is here. So if some of you guys are tuning in for the first time and we haven't had a chance to meet, nice to meet you. It's also great to see some familiar faces. My good friends in Sweden, good to see you guys. Zimbabwe in the house. I see that. Cyprus in the house. Portugal in the house. Amazing. Any other countries I've missed? Hungary in the house as well. Let me know if I've missed any countries before we rock and roll. Now, so everybody's tuning in, guys. Tonight, what I wanted to share with you guys is the 8 categories of distributors in network marketing. I want to share this particular training with you guys because I remember I came across this many years ago, and it helped me to identify the different categories that people fall into. So this way, as a leader, it can enable you to work with people the right way, depending what category they fall into. I apologize. Iceland in the house as well. So I want to share some of these categories with you guys. Make sure you got a piece of paper and a pen so you guys can take some notes. And then I want to share a couple of things with you guys as we get ready to wrap things up in about, I'd say probably about 20 minutes to half an hour, because we're literally 1 month away from our next event, Freedom Academy in Romania. And I think it's going to be very valuable to hear some of these categories that I'm sharing with you guys, because I really want you guys to be able to identify where are you at, where do you want to be to get the relevant results, what category some of your team members are, and also how you can help them to change categories if the category that they're in is not going to help them get to where they want to go. Okay, so if you guys are ready, we're gonna literally rock and roll. And I have a feeling the first category, I'm pretty sure you're gonna think of people that fall into this category. I call this first category the lottery mindset category. These are the people that get into network marketing hoping to get lucky. Hoping that, oh, you know what? If I just enroll a good person on the left and a good person on the right, it's payday. Now, I'll never forget, I literally had a lady in my team. Wow. When I first got started in network marketing, I want to say 2009, she joined my team. This lady was already a presenter at a very well-known radio station in Cyprus. And funnily enough, she did actually get a little bit lucky, because she enrolled a couple of people. One of them I knew personally, and we had him as a common friend, and I basically gave her the sponsorship. He happened to become a producer. And then she also enrolled her ex-boyfriend, who also happened to be a producer. And her team really, really started growing. And but in order to get paid, and in that company, because this was a previous company, you needed to have 4 enrollments. She literally built a team of about 180 people with 2 personals. Now, did she build it? No, she didn't. She got lucky. All she did 5 or 6 presentations, and 1 person enrolled and the second person happened to be a mutual friend. And she was missing out on income because she didn't have 4 enrollments. And I called her and I said to her, listen, you're missing out on money. You need 2 more personals. Her response was like, oh, am I going to find 2 more people? I spoke to everybody I know. Yeah, she spoke to a handful of people. She ended up enrolling her daughters, and then she started getting paid. She was literally making a couple of €1,000 a month, and she had only enrolled 2 people. Now, I call this the lucky squad because she did get lucky. Here's the difference though. Luck doesn't last forever. Hard work is within your control. Luck is not within your control, right? So one thing my mentor always used to say to me, the harder I work, the luckier I get. She was making crazy money, but then when we hit the first challenges, she didn't last through the challenges. You know why? Because when you're building this business and you go through the ups and downs and you manage the emotional roller coaster and you get the yeses and you get the rejections, while you're going through that journey, it helps you to build the character and the leadership and the thick skin that you need in order to climb through the ranks. If you don't go through that emotional roller coaster, you don't develop the character you need. And that's why I always say easy in, easy out. Okay. Now, this lottery group, sometimes they get lucky, but here's the number one people that fall into this category is the ones that come into network marketing just hoping to get lucky. They hear of that one story of one person in, my goodness, I've seen hundreds of thousands of people who join my organizations over the last few years. And I've only ever seen one or two people get lucky. But this category of people that come into network marketing and they have these stories in mind and they go, well, I know two people that if they get this, they're going to be my superstars, right? And these people never last long, okay? Because they're not willing to put in the work that it takes in order to make things happen. The second category of people is the weekend wonder group. These are the people, and I'm sure you've all come across this kind of people. And my goodness, I've come across so many people like that. They're the people that come to the presentation and they look like the ace. They look sharp. Maybe they're wearing a designer suit. They're speaking confident. They're really like talking the talk. Maybe you might have actually even heard them say things to you like, man, you just wait. I know so many people. When I do these, I'm telling you, I'm going to be your next millionaire. If I literally had $1 for every person that told me they were going to be my superstar, I would have been a millionaire just, just from that category. What I found is that sometimes these people may come in and come off to a fast start. Sometimes they'll come in and they'll make some really, really quick sales. But it's kind of consistent with what I said earlier, where easy come, easy go. Sometimes the ones that come in and they have a fast results at the beginning, this plateau that's going to happen in network marketing sometimes, guys, is a necessary part of your development on this journey. Nobody likes it, nobody enjoys it, but the plateaus or the challenges, they're the ones that help you to create that character that we were talking about earlier. They're a necessary part of the business. Now, here's the thing. The plateau may happen right at the beginning of your journey. You might get off to a slow start. Then you develop the character, the skills, the knowledge, and then you have fast results. Maybe the other way around, right? Maybe you have a really fast start at the beginning, then you hit a plateau, develop the character, the skills, the knowledge that you need, and then your business goes up. Maybe you go like this, and then it goes like this and then back up. It doesn't matter. The roller coaster, it may take many different shapes, but it's part of the game. Now, these people that fall into this category, because they come in and they get some fast results, what they think is that the road is just going to be filled with rose petals and it's going to be an easy road all the way to the top. And usually these people, when their first challenges, it's enough to take them out. Now, unfortunately, I fell into this category for a while. And here's the thing, you can fall into multiple categories that I'm going to share with you, but you can also grow out of them. See, I was the person that came in and I had fast results at the beginning. I was the person that let my ego get in the way because I had fast results. I'll never forget, like in my first 12 months of network marketing, I was literally going neck and neck in terms of top producers with some of my mentors. And one thing that I learned the hard way is, if you don't remember where you came from, you're also going to be on your way back. I was jokingly messing with my mentor sometimes, going, hey, kick your butt this week. Hopefully you're going to catch up next week, right? And I thought that because I had a fast start, that it was just going to be an easy road all the way to $1 million a year. I really did think that. In fact, one of my first mentors had achieved the highest level in the company in 10 months. And I remember turning around and saying to my brother, you just watch, I'm going to do it in 6 months. I didn't do it in 6 months. I didn't do it in 2 years. I didn't even do it in 5 years. It took me 10 years to get to the highest rank in my previous company. 10 years. You know why? Because like I said to you earlier, sometimes you need to go through what you need to go through in order to learn the lessons. Now, did I make a bunch of money along the way? Absolutely. I made multiple 7 figures along the way. You don't need to be the highest rank in order to make, millions of dollars. But it was a very frustrating journey for me because many times I wasn't willing to learn the lessons because I let my ego get in the way. So I'm sharing some of these lessons to you guys because, one of the things that I've always heard is that let the hindsight of your mentors become your foresight. A wise person learns from other people's mistakes, where a smart person learns from their own mistakes. And a fool never learns. Okay? So what's easier? Creating your mistakes along the way? Yes, some of you, maybe you need to create your own mistakes along the way, maybe to experience the frustration, the lessons before you learn the lesson. Maybe that's what you need to do. Maybe it's not enough to learn the lesson from somebody else. Okay, but I always say, if I can sit there and save time, energy, and frustration by learning from someone else's mistakes, why go through and recreate them myself? Now, did I make a lot of mistakes at the beginning? 100%. I still make mistakes. Okay, let's go into the other category of people, which is the slave driver group. Who are the slave drivers? The slave drivers are the ones that recruit a handful of people, and they're the ones literally sitting back going, come on, do more presentations. Come on, get out and show more people. But they're not doing what is needed by leading from the front. They're leading from the back. And they're treating everybody like they're their slaves rather than their business partners. And I'm not just talking about people in their team. I'm also talking about people in their support team, in their leadership. They're calling their uplines. I don't actually like using the word upline or downline, but their support team. And they're calling them and basically trying to get them to do things for them, expecting favors, having an entitlement attitude, treating them as if they have something that they owe them in order to do for them. And here's the one thing that I learned is many years ago. If you're not a pleasure for people to work with, whether it's people in your team, whether it's people in your sideline, whether it's people in your support team, here's where you don't want to find yourself to fall into this category. You don't want to fall into the category that when you call your mentor, instead of your mentor looking at the phone and going, oh man, I can't wait to speak to them, and then picking up the phone, your mentor is going and puts it away and ignores your call. You definitely don't want to be that. Now, we all go through ups and downs, and I'm sure on hindsight, there's been many times in my business, in my 16 years career, that I've probably been that person that maybe fell into the trap of complaining too much, focused too much on the obstacles rather than the opportunity. Guys, I've always been very upfront with you because I don't believe in sugarcoating it. I believe in telling it like it is. I am sure I've also been that person sometimes that maybe was frustrating for someone to pick up my phone call. But you know what though? The one thing that I always have in my mind is just to be that little bit better than I was yesterday. If I fell into that category before, what can I do to ensure that I don't fall into that category again? What can I do in order to ensure that when I'm calling someone, whether it's a prospect, whether it's customer service, because that's another thing as well. You get many people that speak to customer service like they're their slaves. Guys, the customer service team is not there just to service. It's a collaboration. We both got to help each other. Customer service cannot exist without us. We cannot exist without the customer service team. So as a customer service team, always feel valued every time they speak to you, or if every time that you speak to the customer service team, they feel like, oh my God, what do they want again? Right? So, this is key. How you treat one person is how you treat everybody. How you do one thing is how you do anything, right? So, sometimes one of the things that I learned from, I can't remember whose biography it was, and they said you can learn a lot about a person by going to a restaurant with them and watching how they treat the waiters. The way they treat the waiters is probably the way that they treat everybody else when you're not looking. And that taught me a lot, because you get some people that will go to a restaurant that will talk to the waiters like they're absolute dirt. In front of you, they may be like smooth talkers and charmers, but if they're talking to the waiters like they're absolute dirt, who else are they talking to like that? Maybe they're talking to their team like that when you're not looking, when you're not there. And one of the things that I've learned a lot about this business is that how we make people feel also affects their production. Do they feel good about being part of the team? Do they feel good whenever they're around you? Do you make them feel special? Or do you fall into the category of the slave driver group of making them feel like, they're like you're entitled to their performance? The other group, and this group that I'm going to share now, is actually one of the biggest percentages in network marketing. So this group you need to pay particular attention to. This is the social group. The social group is the people that maybe they didn't sign up just to make a paycheck. They signed up because either they love making friends first, maybe they still want to make money, but it's a secondary focus group for them. Maybe they signed up because they want to be part of an amazing community. Maybe they signed up because they want to make a new circle of like-minded friends. And these people are so important because these people also contribute to the residual income. These people are the ones that bring the fun into your business. They bring the fun and the culture into your organization. Now, the mistake that a lot of people make, a lot of leaders, is they try to take the people that are there to be part of the social group and turn them into high producers. They don't need to be high producers. They just need to feel good about being around the environment. If people are feeling good, coming to the presentations, logging onto the Zoom calls, they're inviting people, but they might not be the biggest producer, but they're excited to be around the campfire. They're excited to come to the events. They're excited to come on the trips with you. Love them where they're at. Don't try to change somebody's goals or personalities to suit your goals. Love them where they're at. These people make one of the biggest percentages in network marketing, right? Now, the ones that are slave drivers, okay, or the ones that are weekend wanderers, you know how you work with those people? You don't give them individual time, but what you do is you try to work with people in their team. Because when those people coming into the business and maybe they're bringing in a few people in it and the team is growing, but because they're in that category, maybe chances are they're probably not going to last. What you want to be doing is you definitely want to be building really good relationships with people in their team, because if they don't last, at least the team is not going to go with them. Okay, but the social group, because they make such a huge part of the organization, those people, you got to go out of your way to make them feel special, make them feel welcome, make them feel appreciated, and they're going to keep showing up, keep doing presentations, and over time those people can also turn into producers. But it's going to be, you got to create, like, this is what I say about network marketing, guys, is that we're going to create the kind of community that is such an incubator that it gives people enough time for them to grow into the role that they want to grow into. As I shared with you earlier, I fell into one wrong category, but over time, by plugging into the trainings, the mentorship, listening to audios, reading the books, I grew. I understood my shortcomings, and I did what I could in order to develop them. Now I'm in a different category, right? Same with your team. If you make them feel loved and appreciated, I've seen a lot of people that just literally came in for the social and the fun turn into producers and top leaders later on. Now, the next category of people, and this is also one of the largest segments in network marketing, is the sometime group. I call them the hobby group, okay? They're building network marketing. They're saying that they're building a part-time, but it's not really part-time. It's when I can fit it in time. It's when it's convenient time. You see them, coming to the presentations 1 week, and then 2 weeks, you don't see them again. You see them rock up to a training, and then the next training, you don't see them. They're not consistent because they're not prioritizing their business. And the thing is that, the mistake that I used to make sometimes is that I used to try to take this sometimer group and try to turn them into producers. And the challenge with doing that is that what you're going to do is that you're going to exhaust yourself, because it's like trying to motivate the unmotivated. Your job is not to try and to motivate the unmotivated. Your job is to look for the motivated. Okay, when you look for the motivated, they're easier to work with because they're hungry to learn. They're doing the action. You don't have to sit there and call them up and go, hey, did you plug into the Sunday team call? Hey, did you come? I didn't see you at the presentation. Hey, did you book your training for Bucharest? Yes, you still need to do that. You need to circle the wagons. But if you realize that you got some people that are into the sometime group, again, pour love on them. Keep trying to circle back and put them around the campfire, but don't give so much energy. Your energy will go to the last couple of groups, which I'm going to share with you guys shortly. Okay, but this is the hobby group, as I call it. Now, this category that I'm going to share with you right now is the part-time group, but they're the consistent part-time group. They're not the serious ones yet. That comes next. But what this part-time group does is that they're literally plugging in, they're coming to the presentations, they're coming into the calls. They're not able to put a huge amount of time in the business, but they're consistent with the business. That means, I know a bunch of you guys fall into this category. I know, because a bunch of you guys, I see you on these Sunday team calls every Sunday. Now, some people come on the Sunday calls and then next week, and by the way, guys, I want to say a big shout out for all the moms today. I should have actually started the webinar with that. I'm sorry about that, but all the moms out there, because if you're celebrating mothers today, this is a huge deal. I was actually, I'm going to digress for a second, but I was watching a very cool video on Instagram earlier on today, and this video has gone absolutely viral. And it was a guy that was doing an interview for a position, and you see him interviewing lots of different types of people and telling them about the job. And he's saying to them that, look, this job, it has no hours. It's 24/7, 365 days a year. It's and then you see the people going, well, what about a lunch break? They're like, well, you can have lunch, but you can only have lunch when it's convenient for the other people that are kind of filling in this role, not when you're hungry. It's got to basically work into the schedule. And you see some of these people's faces going like, what the hell? Like, holidays, there is no holidays. There's no Christmas, there's no Thanksgiving, there's no Easter, there's just no holidays. There's a lot of overtime. I just also want to let you know that if you really want this job, okay, you're going to be on your feet pretty much 24/7. You can barely sit down, right? And he's sitting there telling them this whole job description, and you can see people's face like being all confused. Hang on a minute. What job is 24/7, 365 days a year, no time for lunch break, definitely no time for holidays? You expecting overtime? Yeah, forget it. It's not going to happen. And the last thing, the icing on the cake, you know what it was? And when they said to him, well, how much does the job pay? He goes, well, nothing. Now, you see these people kind of literally going, what do you mean nothing? Nobody's going to go for this job. He goes, well, that's the interesting thing. There's actually billions of people that have already taken up this job. I was like, what do you mean? Who's taken up this job? And he goes, well, this job is called being a mom. And you see the people's faces just change. And on that note, again, happy Mother's Day, because if you're a mom, is definitely one of the most overworked, underappreciated roles there is. And it can go on for absolute decades. And today is your day. And if you're not the one celebrating, but you're lucky enough to have your mom around, definitely make her feel special. So coming back to this now, so the part-time group, the only thing that basically, so this part-time group is a great group in order to work with, because they are plugging in, they are putting in the hours. But there's only two things that separate them from going into the last two groups, which is the most successful groups. One is that they haven't committed to becoming serious in this business. They're giving it a shot, they're putting in the hours, they're doing the business, but they haven't committed to become a professional in it. They haven't committed in order to step up and create the tools and create the training. And here's the one thing that I got to share with you guys is that a lot of us sometimes fall into this category that we were expecting the company to do everything for us. We're expecting the company to create all the tools, to create all the systems. And one thing that I've learned, guys, over the last few years in network marketing is that if something is not available, go out and find a way to make it happen. I've been waiting for a long time for a fast start training sheet. There wasn't one. What do? We created a fast start training sheet. The presentations that, we have a Dropbox folder. If you don't have the Dropbox folder with all the tools, I'll send it to you. We have videos from different escapes that we've done to showcase the culture. So when you're doing a spa party, a presentation, you can show this in the background in order to create belief. We've done, we always updated the presentation. There's so many things that we're also working on in order to simplify things that we just said, if the company is not able to provide it right now, we're going to take it into our own hands and make it happen. I'm going to give a shout out to the Hungarian team because we needed something translated. The catalog, the product catalog wasn't in language. Same with the French team. What did they do? They found a translator. We found a solution, made things happen, and now there's tools in Hungarian and French. So maybe you don't have a video in Swedish. Guess what? Go out and create a video in Swedish. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to help you to get the job done. So at least you can move on to the next phase. But when you realize that you can take your success into your own hands, then you're playing on a completely different level. And that's when basically you take it to the next grade, the next group, which is the part-time serious group. This category of people you really want to invest your time and energy with, because these are the people that, yes, they're part-timers, yes, they're only putting in maybe 10, 15 hours a week, but they're so consistent and they're acting with the end in mind. They're acting already like a leader. They're hosting their own team calls. They're hosting their own presentations. They're hosting, like they're literally figuring out ways and creating their own tools. They're creating their own systems in order to support their team. And because we have a bunch of different countries here on this group as well, I'm also encouraging you guys as a leader, like if there's nothing going on in your area, go out and be the first person to create something in your area. Launch a weekly presentation in your city. Maybe there's only 2 or 3 of you guys right now, but you got to start from somewhere, right? Literally, you only need 2 or 3 key people in an area to kickstart a market and do something big with it. So who can you link arms with in order to create something consistent? Maybe you live in a country where nothing's really launched yet. Great. Start building an energy and a fire, maybe on Zooms to start with in other countries to see where the energy comes from. Or go out and start creating a team locally in your country, maybe with some home presentations, home lifestyle parties, or something like that, until you start building a core group and build it out from there. Now, the part-time serious group, guys, I've seen people go from $0 to $10,000 a month part-time because they've been serious about it. The serious part-timers are the ones that are 15 hours a week. Now, 15 hours a week is 2 hours a day. It doesn't sound like a lot. Now, some people go, yeah, I do 2 hours a day. But the question is, are you really doing 2 hours a day? Are you doing 2 presentations a day? Because that's a serious part-timer, showing at least 2 presentations a day. That's all it takes to be a serious part-timer. When I started network marketing, I was a serious part-timer with only a handful of hours on a weekly basis. I'm not saying that to impress you. Like I said to you, many, many shortcomings, did a lot of mistakes, had a lot of back and forth until I figured things out. But the one thing that I always used to say is that it was the whatever it takes mindset. I have very limited time and I needed to collapse time frame. So I was showing 7 to 10 people a week, every single week, in my 3 hours a week that I started network marketing, because I needed to make it happen. My why wasn't just a vision or a dream or a wish, it was a must. I needed to create time freedom. What's it going to take for you to take your why, the reason you joined Secret, to go from wishing it's going to happen, hoping it's going to happen, to it's a must. I need to do whatever it takes to make it happen. And if you make that decision, if you make that commitment to be a part-time serious group, then you got to make sure that your action follows that up. What if you literally turn around and say that, you know what, over the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, I'm going to do whatever it takes in order to do at least 2 presentations a day for the next 90 days. The majority of the people on the call are probably not even going to try. But what if you fall into that small category of people that just goes, I'm going to do this. I don't care. I'm not looking left. I'm not looking right. I've made the decision and I'm going to go out and over the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, do at least 2 presentations a day, every day, 6 days a week. Let's say you take 1 day off or half a day off, whatever it is, 2 presentations a day, every day for 90 days. I promise you, your business is going to change so dramatically over the next 90 days if you do this. Now, the last category of people, this is literally the smallest percentage of people, which is the full-time group. Now, I don't need to obviously go into a deep explanation of what the full-time group is, but there's actually a lot of people that are part of the full-time group in terms of time, but not doing the work. Because a full-timer in network marketing is doing 4 or 5 presentations a day. Because let's face it, full-time job is 8 hours a day, isn't it? If you had a full-time job and you were out and you had to meet with clients and generate leads, generate sales and build a team, do you think that you would be able to come to the office saying that you've only done 2 meetings for the day, I'm going to take the rest of the day off, and your boss would be cool with it? How many days do you think that your boss would be cool with it before he started having the chat with you of, hey, this isn't really working. There's the door, right? Because there's a lot of people that say I'm full-time and they have the time, but they're technically unemployed, right? It's better to build these serious part-time and be consistent with it. 2 presentations a day, every day, until you get to the point that you're making such crazy income part-time that it doesn't make sense for you to have a job. And you only have a job because you absolutely love it, not because you got to pay the bills. It's a different place to be in when you're in that situation. Here's the other thing, right? If you're making $2,000 a month part-time with Secret, that sounds a lot sexier than $2,000 a month full-time, doesn't it? Right? My side hustle pays me $2,000 a month, and my job pays me 2,000 euros a month. Right? Doesn't that sound much more appealing to people? Let me show you how part-time I got to the point that I'm making the same amount of money part-time in my side hustle as I am in my full-time job. Jim Rohn, one of the greatest teachers in network marketing, and an amazing mentor to millions of people around the world, he said, don't give up your story. If you've got a great part-time network marketing story, you don't need to give it up in order to go full-time in network marketing. Leverage the story. Even $500 a month part-time, guys. Think about that. If you got your full-time job and you're making $500 a month part-time, what bills are you able to pay quicker? Maybe you're able to pay your mortgage quicker. Maybe you're able to pay your car off quicker. $500 a month part-time can go a long way. But if you're full-time and making $500 a month, well, you need to get a pay rise fast, right? So these are the 8 categories of distributors. Now, knowing all those categories, this is what's going to enable you to basically now, when you're looking at your team, identify where they fall into. And the thing that you got to ask yourself is that if you don't have enough people in your team that are in the last 2 groups, particularly the group 7 and 8, so the part-time series group and the full-timers, then essentially you got to be out of recruiting new blood, new people, and the most important thing is plugging them into the training system. You know, we've got Freedom Academy coming up around the corner. It's literally a month from now in Romania. Okay, there's still a few tickets left. There's also still a handful of rooms left on the mini escape and the mega escape. I think it's going to close in the next few days from what I understand. So this is the best way in order for you to expose people to the culture of our community by taking them on an escape, and then at the same time bringing them to the training. But the thing is with the training is, you know, one of the things that I've always said to people, it doesn't matter what category of distributor people are in, when they come to the training, most of them will change categories by the end of the training. There are some people that will come to the training and maybe they're in the lottery group going, I hope I get lucky. I hope I just recruit a couple of people, and they're wishing to succeed rather than making a goal and an action plan to make it happen. Then they come to the training. They hear the stories. They get the training. They start developing the mindset. They realize how big this business is, and they make a decision. And now they go from the lottery mindset to the part-time group. But you're never going to know unless you put them into that energy, into that event, in order for something to wake up inside them to see what they're made of. Because that's one of the many things that the training does. Yes, you're going to learn all the knowledge, you acquire all the knowledge that you need. Yes, you're going to meet Jesse, the #1 income earner in the company, one of the coolest people that I know. And at the same time, Carrie Schneider, one of the most dynamic female leaders in our company, and consistently a high income earner as well. And you get the mindset, the tools, the strategies, the training, the culture, the fun. But the most important thing is that everybody needs, and they don't realize they need it until they get it, is belief. Is belief. The more you believe, the more action you take. Sometimes if you don't believe enough in yourself or in the company or in the industry, you don't take the action, and you just kind of protect yourself and go, oh, let me see what happens. Lottery mindset. Let me see if I get lucky. And then you're coming in and the belief changes and you realize if it is to be, it's up to me. And you take the decision and the action and the commitment, and everything changes. So 30 days left until Freedom Academy, guys. I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys in a matter of a few weeks. Let's do whatever we can in order to literally, by the way, speak to your leaders, because I know that some of your leaders have been sent the list of everybody that's booked for Freedom Academy so far. So find out who's booked from your team, who's not booked. Next week, I'm actually going to do a course specifically on promoting as well, because I think it's a skill that is, firstly, it's the most highly paid skill in network marketing. But I think it's a skill that a lot of people don't do well. A lot of people now, they post something on Facebook, they send a message, and unfortunately, that's not enough in order to get people to committed to come to an event. It's the personal conversations you're having with people. You got to literally pick up the phone, meet with them, share the stories. We'll share more about that next week. In the meantime, have an amazing week. If you haven't booked the escape, get booked. Not many rooms left. Appreciate you guys, and see you next week.